Update on the Monte Carlo. I got the heads off the motor. Everything looks good. It's in good shape. Um, Sent the heads out to have them studs drilled out and retapped for the exhaust. So I'm waiting on that. In the meantime, as you can see, I haven't really gone any farther on it because I've been busy working on other things. Still got to fix that hole over there. Still got his other motor laying here, but I'm waiting until I get the heads back on there. I'm going to pull the accessory brackets off that motor, stick them on that motor, then get rid of that one. Went out and worked on blue today, and I had to change fuel filters on it because it was plugged up full of rust. I need to put a tank on it, but don't have the money right now. So changed out the fuel filters, cleaned the carburetor, got it running good again. Really doesn't get driven. I've only driven it a few times this year, just for hauling stuff to the recycle or picking motors up like I did with last time. But I was just giving you a quick update on it. It's still sitting here, nothing being done. Freaking la-di-da, waiting on it. Gotta do something with his exhaust system. He has duals underneath it, but of course it's singles off the motor and the duals past the cat. So I'm taking his cat off and moving the pipes over to where I can hook the headers up to them. I'll have to get some adapters that go from 3" down to 2.5. So that's about what's going on today. A disaster of a garage, as you can see. But freaking neighbors are driving me nuts. They went over, and we have the drains out in the street for the sewer, for the for when it rains. And I was over talking to the landlord, and I looked down that drain at the corner by our house here, and they have filled it to the top full of trash, completely full. And I watched the lady today go out and sweep her trash out of the front of her house, out on her porch, and then out to the street. And I told the landlord, I said, hey man, how long are you going to allow this stuff to go on? Because they're completely trashing the neighborhood. And he says, well, we're going to move the one out at the corner. And I'm like, cool, that's only one of 3 that's causing me the issues. And he's going to see what he can do about relocating the other ones, because they're out of control. They party all night long. They throw beer bottles in my side yard over here. They throw beer bottles in the field behind my house. And I had to go pick them up there today, and one of them was busted. Of course, I went to go cut the grass and seen it was busted all over the place. I had to pick it up so I didn't get a flat on the tractor. But it's just ongoing BS. And with this thing being in the garage, it's been a pain in the ass, because every time I get a small job in, I've got to work on it outside, which it's alright when it ain't raining, but I've been dodging the rain the last few days to get a few things done around here. Had a 2002 Sebring come in. A friend of mine's son bought it. It's a convertible, nice looking car. He brought it to me, and the water outlet had separated. So I put a new one on there, and it was good to go. And a couple days later, he called me and says, this thing's puking antifreeze out of it. So he brought it over, and it's the water pump. So I told him it was $1,700 to fix it, and he's like, well, I paid $13 for it. I'm not going to stick another $17 in it. So he took it back home, and he's just going to sell it, try to recoup some of the money he's got in it. And I personally do not like Chrysler Sebrings. I think the motors in them are absolute garbage. I've seen them come in the shop before where they have gummed up with oil and lost pressure to the top half of the engine. They've got really small oil ports in them, and it doesn't take much to plug them up. And people let oil changes go 4, 5, 6,000 miles. I change it every 3,000, regardless of what the book says. I've had people come in and say, well, the book doesn't say you got to change it but every 12,000 miles. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. The oil breaks down, gums up everything. You're just taking a chance of running a motor. So why not change oil early than late? It doesn't cost that much. Oil's not super expensive compared to what it would cost for an engine. So I'm just out here dilly-dallying around, getting ready to go in the house. I'm done for the day. Figured give you guys a quick update on the Monte Carlo, let you know how it's going. And as soon as it's done with that, I'm going to try to get the Subaru in so I can pull the head. I put K&W in it, block sealer, head gasket sealer. and the first few times I drove it, it didn't work. About the fifth or sixth time I took it out, drove around, let it get heat in it, let it cool down, let it sit for a couple weeks, went out and fired it up, and drove from Dayton to Huber and back to Dayton, and it did fine. And I started going up a hill, and I watched the water temperature start to surge a little bit, and it come back down. And it surged a minute, and it come back down. So I brought it back home and parked it. And I also noticed when I went around the corner right here, rear wheel bearing making noise. So I've got it to do the rear wheel bearing on the passenger side, and I'm going to go ahead and pull the motor out since I got the K&W in it, and flush the whole system out, flush the radiator out, change the head gasket on it, send the head over to the gentleman that's doing the heads for the Monte Carlo. He said $50 he'd mill the heads for me. So I was like, sweet. So after I get up the Monte Carlo, that'll be the next thing I'll do is the Subaru, because I'm still driving the Honda. I love the Honda, but it's annoying running on 3 cylinders. And the Restore actually helped with oil consumption. It's no longer burning oil. I've put almost 900 miles on it since I put it in there, and it starts to fire periodically on that cylinder. I checked the plug, it seems like it's firing that cylinder, but it's weak. And of course, even all the blow-bys going through, when you take the oil filler cap off, you can actually hear it and see the blow-by coming out of the valve cover. So it's wore out. So after I get done with the Subaru, I got a few other cars to work on, and hopefully this winter I'll be pulling the motor out of the Honda, and I'm going to get a junkyard motor and stick it in there, and then while I'm driving it over the next year or so, I'm going to build the motor that's in it. I'm going to put forged internals in it, and a nice set of rods, have the crank cut and polished, and I believe that I'm going to go with turbo on it. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm not one of these that's got to have 900 horsepower out of a frig 4-cylinder. I'm just going to do a mild build on it, something I can play around with and then enjoy on the road and be reliable. I'm not wanting to build something that's going to blow up in a month. These guys get these Hondas and they boost up the piss out of them, and they last a few months when they beat on them, and they're like, oh, well, it's blown up. Well, yeah, because you're pushing it too hard. So I'll let you guys see the videos when I go start doing that. In the meantime, just trying to get things cleaned up around here, and that's about it for today. So please like and subscribe to my channel, and go check out John's Junkyard Art. I cannot say that enough. I'm not getting any views on there. I need to get the views on there to where I can get my business cards for John's Junkyard Art, because that's going to be what I'm going to do in the future, because I've physically cannot keep doing this for another 10 years. I don't see it happening, not with my back and shoulders. So like I said, please check out both my channels, and please like and subscribe, and you guys have a good evening. Thank you.